Yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we have something very cool for the E36 M3. You guys saw last week's video, I did the 𝙤𝙬𝙚 catback, which sounds and looks awesome, but there's something else I feel would really improve the drivability of this car overall. So I've mentioned previously that I've been stacking parts for the E36 M3, some rare stuff that I haven't showed you guys yet. Today I'm going to show you one of those pieces and why we're actually not going to use it today. This right here is what I was going to put in the E36 M3. This is actually an 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙚 short shifter. I'd never heard of this, I'd never seen these before, but this popped up somewhat locally. So as cool and as rare as this shifter is, and yes, it's 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙚, it's like a cool collectible piece that kind of goes with the wheels. And I bought this when I bought the exhaust for the car too, when I had the 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙚 muffler, so it was gonna kind of all tie together. The more I thought about it, I just don't need some dumb rare shifter that I don't know the mileage or condition of, and I don't really care to install it, I guess, on my car because I ordered something else months and months ago and it finally showed up. So now that I have the two shifters, I don't think I'm going to use the 𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙚 shifter. So now finally, after months of waiting, this is the short shifter. So let's unbox it, I'll show you what it is, and I think everybody will be as stoked as I am on this one. This is the special box. Try and do this one hand here. There she is. That is the Dinan short throw shifter for the E36 M3. So finally, I have the Dinan short throw and we can put it in the car. I have not only done it once, not twice, but 3 times on this car. So I feel like at this point I'm pretty well versed and pretty knowledgeable on how to get this done pretty quick. Since I've done this 3 times at this point, about to be 4, I feel like I'm able to give you some advice as well. If you're gonna do this, just go ahead and refresh everything that should be refreshed at the same time. I'd say the ideal time to do this is if you're dropping your transmission. I feel like that's just the easiest time to do it. But a lot of people aren't doing that, like myself. I'm not dropping the transmission in this car anytime soon. I would recommend that you upgrade all of your shift linkage with either poly or OEM, whatever you decide to do. This is going to be incredibly easy compared to the times that I've done it prior because we don't even have to pull the carrier out. Last time I pulled the carrier out for the short shift or the chassis mount, and then the second time I had pulled it out to refresh all the bushings. This time I don't have to do any of that. Essentially, all I have to do is jack the car up enough to disconnect the shifter and drop the new shifter in. First things first, get the car up in the air. If you have stock height, you'd probably be able to get away with going from the front subframe and the rear diff. With this, I kind of have to go corner by corner, so I don't even film this. It just takes forever, and it's just me double checking everything a million times. If you want to learn how to jack up your E36, I have plenty of videos where I do end up jacking this car up and film it on camera. So I'll show you guys a little bit of a before. This is how much play this car has after I've refreshed all the bushings even. I'm talking everything. The selector joint, the rear bushing for the carrier bushings, the collar bushing, everything has been replaced. And unfortunately, we just have a lot of play still. That is in gear, this is neutral, that's in gear. It's just the detemp pins in the transmission. There's like nothing I can do about it unless I drop the transmission, order the tools to do the detemp pins. It's just a lot. I'm just gonna live with this, but we will get a shorter throw. I don't know how much shorter it will be, but that's why we're gonna film it and figure out the before and after and kind of see. I'm very curious to find out because this isn't too long to me. I mean, it feels okay, but it would be nice if it was slightly shorter. The chassis mount was way too short. So I'm going to jack the car up, but actually the very first thing you can do is start inside the car and you can remove the shift knob. In most cases, as long as you have a stock or OEM shifter or anything that's similar style, all you have to do is pull directly up on the shifter. Don't put your face or your forehead in front of it. Normally these are pretty hard to get off, and that's how they should be. You don't want it flying off when you're actually driving the car. So yeah, you just need to yank it as hard as possible. It will come straight up. I'm gonna try and do this with the camera balanced on the center console. So, oh, all right, that was fairly easy because I've done it too many times with this. But yeah, this is the HP knob. You'll notice BMWs are slotted, they're not like threaded, which kind of blows, but something like this, pretty easy. This just comes off, this trim, it's super easy. You can just pull it off. Dumb easy. Now when you get here, depending on how clapped your E36 is, you may or may not have this. This is just the like sound deadening insulation crap. You can order another one of these. I don't really feel like this plays into how tight your shift linkage is, so a lot of people don't even use that. This guy is a total bitch. I hate this thing. This is this like rubber, I hate it. It sucks because it's so tight on there. Putting it on and off totally blows. I'm gonna try not to rip it. I have an extra one, but I don't want to have to use it. So this is this guy. It's a lot easier to take off than it is to put on. Just keep that in mind. All right, all this super easy stuff is out of the way in the interior. The only thing I'm gonna do now is jack the car up. I'll fast forward to that. You guys will see how to actually remove the shifter out of the carrier. So just keep in mind, if you're doing this and you're only doing a short shifter, it's actually really easy. But if you're gonna replace all the bushings and stuff, you will have to remove the carrier. With everything that I'm doing today, it's gonna be a super quick job in comparison to that, so just keep that in mind. All right, so your shifter actually sits above the drive shaft here. Like I said, I'm not pulling mine out, so it's gonna be very hard for you to see. All right, you can imagine how tight it is with a DSLR under here, but you can actually see there's the shifter there. On the other side of your selector rod, there is a pin. You can pull it with the pick. It's super freaking easy. Oh, can the camera still see anything? No. Okay. Normally you can finesse it just right, pull it off without a pick. So there you go. So now the shifter is completely disconnected. And my God, I should have removed that insulation when I had the chance. All right, so every time I actually remove this, I find it really tricky to actually get the hang of. You just take some needle nose pliers and you want to wedge them in between the grooves in this little, you want to just wedge them in between the grooves of that collar there, and you want to rotate it. I think I just did it clockwise, I can't remember. But yeah, you do it enough and it does pop out eventually, but you kind of have to finagle it to actually pop out. It doesn't just pop out like everybody says it does, at least not for me. So anyways, as you can see, shifter is out of the carrier. All we have to do is set up our Dinan short throw it in, connect it to the linkage, and we should, in theory, be done. So yeah, no more of this. All right, you can tell this one is just slightly shorter than stock and OEM, so I think we'll get a nice OEM plus feel to this. And again, the quality on this is just so much better. This is super loose and just not tight. This is extremely tight. So I'm gonna go ahead, reference the instructions on installation. Just like the camber arms that I did, it's pretty self-explanatory as long as you're reading your instructions. This is for the M3, so I'm gonna reference this and then we'll go ahead and put it in the car. All right, so if you are by chance installing this in an M3 like I am, you'll read the instructions and the instructions will say to adjust the little retaining clips. What I will say about that is that it's easier said than done. I probably spent 2 hours trying to figure this out, so I'll go ahead and show you what I did. So when you get it, it's sitting as low as it can here. And what you're supposed to do is move the retaining clip, which you can see is now here. You can move it up. So they're really hard to see. I'll try and insert a photo I took on my phone. But if you use a razor blade and you split this apart on the top and move it up to the second groove, that's good. You got that one adjusted. But then the issue that you run into is that this blue piece that sits in the carrier can only go so far up, and there's still one you need to adjust down here. So actually, if you move that retainer all the way up the shifter, you can slide this guy all the way up the shifter, and if you can see, we have that one. We have this one clip that we can now move down to secure it, and then we can come back, put this back down, and pull our retaining clip to that first groove there. So that's only for an M3 application. You shouldn't have to do this with a non-M, but believe me, I struggled with this for a very long time, and then it took my brain working for a little bit to figure out that if I move that retainer all the way up, I could access this one. There's no notes about this in the instructions, so just keep that in mind. All right, I apologize for the lighting in here, but after some rigorous attempts at getting this thing in there, I got it. I did not put the snap ring in. I'll just come out and say it. I'll be dead honest with you. I did not put the snap ring in, and that's kind of to secure it to the bottom of the carrier. In all honesty, do I think that this is gonna pop out while I'm driving? No. If it does, I'll go ahead and put the snap ring in. But to be honest, I have to go to work in like 2 hours, and I do not have time to be fucking with that snap ring. So I'm gonna put this back together from now. Again, I can do the snap ring from the bottom, no big deal. The shifts are very short. yeah, I mean, they're pretty short. Guys, first drive with the short shifter. They are very short, but like not too short to where it feels race car, which is why I didn't like the chassis mount. I won't even lie, like if I did have the snap ring, I would feel a lot more confident driving right now. So I'm not gonna argue with anyone that says it's necessary. We'll be fine without it for now, I'm sure. It's just, yeah, kind of nerve-wracking that this thing could just pop out. But again, the shifts, if you watch them, oh, I'm also driving, so the shifts are pretty short, which I like. I like that. But they're not like too much, like I was saying. I don't know. I think it's perfect. Was it worth the install? Hell no. All right, welcome back. I figured I'd pick up the camera. I finally got that snap ring installed. I just didn't have any time in between work. I got the car up after work today and installed the snap ring. I don't know, maybe I'm just bad at it, but it was my first time installing a snap ring. I've never used those before. I even bought snap ring pliers. Now I will say I don't think the tips on this, it's not focusing, but I don't think the tips on this were like suitable for this job, and it didn't come with any like extra ones angled or anything. If these were at like a slight angle, I think it would be tons easier. But I spent a lot of time, more than I would like to admit, underneath the car trying to get that snap ring on. I finally got it on, and I got it on just like enough to like push the rest of it on, if that makes sense. Not fun. Not my least favorite part of this install. And the shifter hits like checks all the boxes. It shifts great. Even with the detent pins in this transmission, it still feels awesome. Nothing on this car has ever been an easy job. I say that probably every time I install something, and it's true. It's just nothing is really that easy on here. If you're a mechanic and this is your profession, this is your job, maybe I look like an idiot. But again, I just record my experience doing things, and that was a pain in the ass. Absolute pain in the ass. I would not do it for a friend. But what I will say, as I said earlier, if you're gonna do this, go ahead and do all the shift linkage, anything related to it at the same time. Replace your 𝙡𝙤𝙠𝙚, so you know, just take everything out of the way. So take the mid pipe down, take the drive shaft out, replace the 𝙡𝙠𝙚 center support bearing, service the differential, whatever you wanna do. I think it'd make your life a whole lot easier. Now, because I had already done all that stuff, it just wasn't necessary, but it would have been very helpful, and that snap ring, I'm sure, would have been way easier to install with stuff out of the way. It's a great shifter. It turned out great, and now that all the hard work is done, I can enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I want to say thank you for watching the last video that I uploaded, which is the 𝙢𝙠𝙚𝙬 catback install on the M3. You guys killed that one. Got a lot of views in the first week. Got a lot of new subscribers from it. If you'd like me to cover the shifter a little bit more in depth and actually do a review video, I can totally do that. I just figured this video is probably long enough already, and you guys kind of get the point. Lastly, if you want to see any other shifter installs or any other shift linkage videos, I have a couple linked down below. As I said at the start of this video, it's not my first time doing it, so definitely had my fair share of shift linkage maintenance and upgrades. Thanks for subscribing, liking, sharing. Anything you do helps my channel and helps me out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.